Chapter 21, Are you going to silence Orochimaru? You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the light faded, it was like nothing had happened. Yi Tsang stood there untouched, but the fireballs around her winked out, one by one, just like her life. The legendary female ninja, destined for greatness in the Third Shinobi World War, snuffed out before her time. A mind attack. So, your secret technique, Jing, is a form of yin release? Minato Namikaze asked as he approached. Most ninjas only knew the 5 basic elements, but Jiraiya had taught Minato about the existence of yin and yang release, bringing the total to 7. His girlfriend excelled in yang release, a fact proven by her immense chakra reserves and remarkable physique. The Uchiha clan were the masters of yin release. Uchiha Jing nodded, sitting down to replenish his chakra. At his current level, he could only use that technique 2 or 3 more times, tops. You developed that just for me, didn't you? Sukuna's voice dripped with sarcasm from inside him. He was clearly mimicking his own technique, but using it to create an effect like the infinite void. The intent was too obvious. Jing didn't respond, only saying, the 3-tomo Sharingan can copy techniques. If it seems similar, that's because it is. He was definitely keeping Sukuna in mind. The seal was strong, and Sukuna wasn't showing any signs of breaking free, but Kagami had to consider what would happen if Sukuna did escape. Regular ninjutsu wouldn't work on him, but a direct attack on the soul would definitely be effective, and Sukuna was not alone. Most ninjas are terrified of soul attacks. That's why the spirit transformation technique is considered the ultimate assassination move. I've heard about Sunagekyo's scorch release, Hagura, Kakashi said, sighing. As expected, Jing. Kakashi, I still prefer the headstrong version of you. Minato smiled and clapped them both on the shoulder. Great battlefield debut, you two. You both did awesome. I thought you'd say she was worth more alive, Jing said, brushing off Minato's hand. Minato shook his head. I wouldn't ask you to capture an enemy alive. It's too risky. He turned serious, his tone sharp. Your safety comes first on the battlefield. Got it? Got it. Kakashi replied enthusiastically. After a quick break, Jing drew on Sukuna's cursed power to restore his chakra. His technique counted as yin release, which relied heavily on mental energy. That meant he could replenish his chakra quickly, just by focusing his mind. The Ninetales power bank was still the most useful. With both yin and yang, it could rapidly recover both body and spirit. After Kushina's rampage, Kagami had collected some of the Ninetales overflow chakra, not a whole lot, just a few drops. Nothing near enough to transform into a tailed beast like Kinkaku and Ginkaku did. If you measured it in Kakashi units, it was maybe worth 10 calories, tops. He usually saved it for studying yin-yang release and was reluctant to burn it on ninjutsu. Meanwhile, at the Fire Country Border Command Room, Orochimaru glanced at the small group returning after being gone half a day and figured they'd come for intel on his target, but instead, a dozen Sand Village corpses in perfect condition were deposited in the command room. After checking, a ninja from the Yamanaka clan announced, brains intact. We should be able to get some information. A Nara clan ninja, with his trademark pineapple hair, squatted beside Yakura's body. This is Yakura, the bloodline ninja from Sunagekyo. Why are there no wounds? It was an illusion. Orochimaru gave Jing a cold look and smiled in a way that was more creepy than friendly. My guess is Jinkuen killed her. No wounds. A bloodline jonin taken out with genjutsu alone. You're stronger than I thought. The Yamanaka ninja, still cataloging the bodies, looked up. Uchiha. Kagami-kun, right? Is that so? Did your genjutsu fry her brain? Probably burned it to a crisp. You can take a look. Jing had no idea how the technique worked. This was the first time he'd used it on a person. Besides, he wasn't interested in Yi Tsang's secrets. If he really wanted information, he'd just use his Sharingan to hypnotize her. The Yamanaka clan's technique was just a small part of what the Sharingan could do. Once they had left with the bodies, the command room was back to how it was half a day ago, with only 4 people in it. Minato immediately bowed to Orochimaru. Lord Orochimaru, I apologize. Please forgive Jing if he offended you. Orochimaru's eyes were dark, and his voice barely audible. More than just an offense. Commander-in-Chief of the attack front, Kagami-kun. Act like that, and you'll be hauled off to the Umbu for questioning, Jing interrupted. He was completely unfazed. First of all, you were the one who started with the stink eye. Besides, you got played by an 8-year-old with illusions. Lord Orochimaru, if you tell anyone about that, you'll never live it down. I can just go to the Hokage, and my teacher would probably take my side. Orochimaru leaned forward like a snake about to strike. There are some old geezers who are very afraid of the Uchiha clan. If they knew how powerful you were, they wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Is that a threat? Maybe. What are you going to do about it, Jing-kun? Jing stepped closer to Orochimaru, their eyes locking. If we're playing games, let's play for keeps. If Orochimaru persecutes me, I might just defect from Konoha, and a few hundred Uchiha ninja would follow me. Orochimaru smirked. Kagami-kun, don't you know that when the strongest member of your clan ever left the village, not a single person went with him? That's because the clan members at the time didn't know what restrictions the Uchiha were going to face. After a moment of silence, Orochimaru suddenly burst out laughing. It's true, it's not fair. We are such a powerful clan, but we can't get the respect we deserve. Kagami-kun, if I become Hokage, how about I groom you to be the next one? Hokage, almost every Konoha ninja starts with the dream of becoming Hokage, only a few ever make it. Anyone else, it'd be empty words, but this was Orochimaru. The third Hokage was getting old, Sakumo Hatake was gone, and Jiraiya and Tsunade weren't interested in the job. Orochimaru was the official successor, and his achievements were more than enough. Nobody would be surprised if he got promoted to the position. Only Kagami knew that Minato was going to blow past everyone. We'll see if that happens. My money's on Minato becoming Hokage before you. Kagami didn't mince words, giving the snake zero respect. On one hand, the Uchiha weren't exactly known for their manners, and on the other hand, Kagami knew Orochimaru didn't care what people thought of him. Hearing this, Minato rubbed the back of his head, embarrassed. I'm still far from that. But I'm definitely going to become Hokage. As he spoke, he slowly lowered his hands, which had been forming seals behind his back. The tension had been high, and he was even prepared to silence Orochimaru for Kagami's sake. There was no other choice. Konoha couldn't afford to lose the Uchiha. Minato knew how badly it would hurt the village if they broke apart. Luckily, Orochimaru was just joking. Otherwise, he might have had to take Orochimaru out for the good of the village, for the sake of the village. That was the third Hokage's teaching. Orochimaru had no idea he had been flirting with death. He wasn't interested in tattling on anyone. What he wanted to see was how powerful Kagami was on the battlefield. He'd already been pleasantly surprised once today. Scorch release. I'm going to have a busy night. Chapter 22, Information brought by Hatake Sakumo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But honestly, Orochimaru was way more interested in Kagami Uchiha's Sharingan than any Scorch release. After everyone cleared out, he used his summoning snake to get the lowdown on Kagami Uchiha from his contacts in Konoha. Up until then, all he knew was that this kid was an Uchiha who'd unlocked the 3-tomo Sharingan super early. He'd seen that Sharingan before and wasn't that impressed. But this kid's eye power was on another level. Orochimaru even suspected he might have unlocked the legendary Mangekyo. Kagami Uchiha wasn't exactly hiding his skills. He was a master swordsman, used his Sharingan to help seal the Nine Tails when it went berserk, and even mastered Minato Namake's A-rank jutsu in just 2 days, a real ninja prodigy, a triple threat. Plus, he had this crazy, invisible slashing attack that packed the punch of a bloodline limit, and with that cold, calculating personality, unless you could just overpower him, Orochimaru couldn't even think of a way to win, poison or sneak attacks. Forget about it with those Sharingan eyes watching. Could he take him if he summoned the entire snake army? Orochimaru was actually considering pulling out his trump card. What's the limit on that jutsu of yours that took out Yitsung? I'm not trying to figure out your secrets. I just need to plan our next move. Kagami Uchiha thought for a sec. If they're caught off guard, I could probably take out an elite jonin. Technically, even the Hokage's just an elite jonin. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed. Sure you want to use that one-hit kill ability so soon? Jutsu are made to be used. Kagami Uchiha gave Orochimaru a look, sounding like he was giving advice. What's the big secret, Orochimaru? Don't get too hung up on this jutsu. By the time you figure out how to counter it, I'll have upgraded it a few times. Talk about genius confidence. Orochimaru wasn't offended. He dropped the subject. Minato. Why do you think the Sand Village is suddenly ramping up its activity in the Land of Fire? Intel says they're looking for someone. Who's worth all this trouble? The third Kazekage. It wasn't Kagami who spoke. He wasn't about to leak that intel himself. A silver-haired man covered in blood suddenly appeared, pushing aside the command room's curtain. Sakumo. Hatake-senpai. Even Orochimaru was stunned, noticing the deep wounds all over Sakumo's body. The worst was his wrist, half his hand was gone. Hatake Sakumo was pale, and his gaze fell on a speechless Kakashi. Long time no see, Kakashi. Bang, Kakashi couldn't hold back. He threw himself into Hatake Sakumo's arms, sobbing. Hatake Sakumo gently patted Kakashi's back with his good hand, his eyes filled with kindness and guilt. Kakashi was just a kid. It wasn't right to abandon him like that. After the touching reunion, Orochimaru got to the point. Sakumo, what do you mean? The third Kazekage. Suddenly, a ninja from the Nara clan burst in, ignoring protocol. The news was too big to wait. He had to tell Orochimaru ASAP. Orochimaru. We have intel on Yamanaka-en. They're looking for the missing third Kazekage. He glanced around and saw Hatake Sakumo. Orochimaru frowned and pointed at him. Guard the door. No one gets in. Sakumo, please, continue. Orochimaru was more interested in what Hatake Sakumo knew than anything the Sand Village ninjas could tell him. He was also dying to know who'd managed to hurt Hatake Sakumo so badly. I ran into Sasori of the Sand, Chiyo's grandson. I've heard of him. A puppeteer prodigy. Hatake Sakumo skipped the details, and his next words dropped a bomb on everyone. He assassinated the third Kazekage and turned both of them into human puppets. We fought, and we both took a beating. He got away. I see. Kakashi looked at his father's injuries, a new thought hitting him. If we just explain this to the Sand Village, they'll call off the war and go after Sasori. Kakashi was being naive. Orochimaru shook his head. Without the third Kazekage's puppet body, they won't believe it. They'll just think we killed the Kazekage and Sasori. Even if they do believe us, it won't matter. Minato's mind was racing. Chiyo is sharp. When she hears this, she'll claim it's a Konoha plot to divide the Sand Village. That'll just make them even more determined to fight, switching from searching for the third Kazekage to getting revenge on Konoha. Kagami Uchiha chuckled, looking at Kakashi. The best way to deal with a civil war is to turn it into a foreign war. It wasn't just his jutsu skills. Kakashi felt like his entire IQ was getting crushed. Hatake Sakumo, seeing his frustration, ruffled his hair. It's up to you to figure out what to do. I'm just dropping the news before I go. Before you go. Dad, where are you going? Hatake Sakumo sighed, a sad smile on his face. Sasori's after me. As long as I leave the Land of Fire, he'll chase me instead. More importantly, he was scared Sasori would go after Kakashi. Anyone who dared to assassinate a Kazekage and get away with it, was too dangerous. Orochimaru frowned. There's no need for that. You're worth more than the third Kazekage and Sasori combined. I can make this work. With your intel, I can completely undo any damage from your past actions. Honestly, Orochimaru wanted Hatake Sakumo back in Konoha. Back in the day, the three of them owed him a lot. When Hatake Sakumo left, Tsunade was so pissed she wouldn't even talk to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Even he and Jiraiya were annoyed with the third Hokage. Anyone could see what was going on back then. Hatake Sakumo shook his head, smiling. No, I'm used to my life now. It feels good to be free. I see. Orochimaru didn't push it. He respected Hatake Sakumo's choice. Dad. I also. Hatake Sakumo stopped Kakashi, looking him in the eye. Wait until you're a ninja who can stand on your own, then you can decide. He turned to Minato and Kagami. Minato, Kagami, take care of him for me. I know Kakashi's in good hands with you. Sakumo, I promise I'll protect Kakashi. Minato nodded firmly. Aside from Kushina, Konoha was Minato's top priority, and he respected this legendary ninja who'd given so much to the village. Kagami Uchiha turned to Orochimaru. Now that you know, what's the plan, Orochimaru? Orochimaru licked his lips, a grin spreading across his face. We're going to take advantage of the Sand Village being leaderless and hit them hard. Good call. Kagami Uchiha nodded, pleased. If it was up to the old guys in the village, they'd probably try to negotiate peace with the Sand Village. Chapter 23 Pre-War Meeting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Orochimaru, ignoring protocol, immediately included Minato's team in the strategy session. After dismissing Hatake Sakumo, he gathered several frontline ninja, including an Umbu captain, and Sarutobi Shinosuke, the third Hokage's eldest son, as the commander-in-chief. Orochimaru held a position akin to a governor, necessitating his involvement in crucial decisions. He wasn't wearing a mask during the meeting. He was a young man who bore a resemblance to the third Hokage in his youth. After outlining the situation, Orochimaru presented his plan. The Sand Village has launched a large-scale invasion across the Fire Country border. A purely defensive approach is too slow. My strategy is to concentrate our forces for a direct counterattack on the Wind Country, forcing them to pull back their troops. After a pause, the Nara Jonin spoke gravely. That would certainly make Mangekyo withdraw, but Lord Orochimaru. It would leave our border exposed, and Iwagakure would seize the opportunity. The ninja world is dominated by 5 major countries. The Fire Country lies at their center. Historically, in any major ninja world war, the Fire Nation typically faces off against the other 4, while a single invasion by the Wind Country wouldn't cause panic in the Fire Country, as Konoha had more than enough strength to defeat them. The Western Front, where Orochimaru's team was positioned, faced not only the Sand Village, but also the Earth Country's Iwagakure. If Lord Anoki learned that a large number of Konoha ninja were invading the Wind Country, he'd undoubtedly have Iwagakure ninja exploit the chance to raid the Fire Country. Orochimaru turned to Minato. Minato, you've encountered Iwagakure's Jinchuriki before, right? How powerful were they? Village leaders generally avoid frontline combat, focusing on village protection. As such, the most potent military force typically deployed is the Jinchuriki. Minato paused, then replied, extremely powerful. More importantly, they have incredible area of effect attacks, so numerical superiority doesn't matter much. The Jinchuriki's most dangerous weapon is the tailed beast ball, essentially a cannon in a world of swords. While elite ninja might consider tailed beasts manageable, ordinary ninja, even exceptionally skilled assassins like Hatake Sakumo, struggle against them. Sealing techniques are the most reliable method of containing tailed beasts. The Mangekyo Sharingan also works, but few people are aware of it. Orochimaru nodded. My intel indicates that Anoki has concentrated a large force near the Land of Lightning border, leaving the Western Front lightly defended. He doesn't believe the Land of Lightning is stronger than the Land of Fire. He's doing this because the Jinchuriki are at the Earth/Fire border. That his words caused visible unease among the attendees. Fear of the tailed beasts was ingrained in most ninja. Minato, are you capable of handling a Jinchuriki right now? Minato didn't immediately answer. After careful thought, he said, I can hold one off. But they usually operate as a team. The Land of Earth's tailed beasts are the 4 tails and 5 tails. Minato and Jiraiya encountered them together. It's the standard operating procedure. Why wouldn't top-tier fighters team up? Orochimaru looked at Uchiha Kagami. Kagami, I believe you can handle the other one. We'll leave some ninja behind to deal with the regular Iwagakure forces. The two of you will engage the Jinchuriki. Before Kagami could respond, a voice boomed out. That's insane. Sarutobi Shinosuke slammed his fist on the table, glaring at Orochimaru. Orochimaru, what are you thinking, sending kids to fight Jinchuriki? Ordinarily, Sarutobi Shinosuke remained silent during tactical discussions, but Orochimaru's proposal was so outrageous that he dropped all formalities. Deeply influenced by his father's belief in protecting the young, he already disapproved of Jing and Kakashi's presence on the battlefield. He still viewed Uchiha children as just that, children. He'd submitted reports requesting their recall, but Sarutobi Hiruzen had ignored them. Shinosuke, Kagami isn't an ordinary child. Orochimaru replied calmly. He defeated a scorch-release ninja in his first battle. Something that would be difficult even for you. Sarutobi Shinosuke stood firm. Regardless, I won't approve your deployment. I'm asking the Hokage to recall Kagami and Kakashi. He turned to them, genuine concern in his eyes. We're not all dead yet, and we don't need children like you risking your lives. Asuma often mentions you. I know you're exceptional, but you don't understand the brutality of war. Please, go home. Even Minato was momentarily swayed, wondering if he should send his younger comrades back to the village. If it wasn't for the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Kagami wouldn't participate in the war. He understood the cruelty of war and the value of peace. I would rather be a dog in peacetime than a man in troubled times. But he also understood that peace cannot be achieved through compromise. Only through struggle can true peace be achieved. You are a good person, but I don't need your kindness, Uchiha Jing spoke calmly. Thank you for your concern, Sarutobi Jonin. I am a ninja, and I will obey Lord Orochimaru's orders. He turned to Orochimaru. With great power comes great responsibility. The village needs me. I hope to arrange for some Uchiha ninjas to join the battlefield. Is that a problem? War is the catalyst for the Sharingan, and the Konoha high-level officials are well aware of this, so unless it is absolutely necessary, they just want to trap the Uchiha in the village and prevent this demon sword from being stained with blood. Their judgment was correct, or rather, the judgment derived from the second Hokage was correct. In the middle and late stages of the Third World War, the Uchiha had to join the war, which catalyzed the emergence of Fugaku's Mangekyo. Shisui and Itachi's Mangekyo were also affected by this war, not to mention Kamui, which is considered the strongest kaleidoscope. Orochimaru wasn't aware of the Sharingan's awakening requirements, but he sensed that Uchiha Kagami wasn't as straightforward as he seemed, and he was hiding something. What does it matter? Orochimaru has never cared about the plans of Konoha's upper echelons. He just wants to see what Uchiha Kagami can do. I'll report this to the Hokage and request Uchiha reinforcements. He gave Uchiha Jing a meaningful look. You can give me a list later, Jing. No one knows better than you which Uchiha are best suited for combat. A silent agreement passed between them. Orochimaru would help him recruit Uchiha ninja, and he would help Orochimaru defend the rear. It doesn't matter if we can't hold it. Konoha is now in its heyday, and the number of Jonin is the largest in history. Even the most pessimistic person would not have thought that this war would last for 10 years and drag the powerful Konoha into the quagmire. It should be said that it was the death of Minato Namikaze and the departure of the Sannin that almost caused Konoha to collapse, leading to the subsequent death of Hisashi. Orochimaru is confident and ready to take risks because he has the resources. Chapter 24 Uchiha in the Shadows. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In an unknown underground lair, an incredibly old man leaned back in a stone chair. Tentacles snaked from behind him, disappearing into the inky blackness. His scarlet eyes gave him the look of the legendary Grim Reaper. But long ago, his name inspired even more fear. A legendary ninja known as the God of Ninja, Uchiha Madara. A white form rose from the ground, shattering the silence. Madara-sama. Let's rumble. Let's rumble. Konoha and Sunagakure are already duking it out at the border, and the other ninja villages are itching for a piece of the action too. After a beat, a raspy, contemptuous chuckle filled the space. That's the ninja world for you. Even if we sit on our hands, these guys will never find peace. Hashirama, that flimsy piece you built crumbled the minute you kicked the bucket. Oh, here we go again. Lord Madara's about to start another imaginary chat with Hashirama Senju. White Zetsu patiently waited. How's that little errand I gave you coming along? By Zetsu presented a paper listing names and details. As you asked, here's the intel on the Uchiha kids between 5 and 10. The first name that jumped out was Uchiha Kagami. He unlocked the 3-tomo Sharingan at 7 years old. Even Uchiha Madara hadn't heard of such a prodigy back in the Warring States period. So what? Slow and steady wins the race. Madara had studied the Sharingan so thoroughly, he knew that early activation wasn't necessarily an advantage. It's a bad idea to have power that your body can't handle at a young age. The more he understood, the more Madara suspected that Uchiha Kagami wouldn't awaken the Mangekyo, or that the Mangekyo he awakened wouldn't meet Madara's needs. That kid's too level-headed and mature. Sure, there are people who care about him, but if he attacked his grandmother and brother, considering this kid's personality, he'd probably figure out what's up and wouldn't be blinded by rage. He wouldn't become what I need. Madara scanned the list, his gaze finally landing on Uchiha Obito. He understood the key to unlocking the Mangekyo. Beyond the basics, the trigger was intense trauma. When an Uchiha loses a loved one, they gain power. That damned curse. The more emotional an Uchiha, the greater the hatred born from the loss of love. Go keep tabs on this Obito kid and dig up everything you can on him. I need to know what matters most to him. But Madara-sama, Uchiha Kagami's clearly a better fit to be your successor. If I didn't know you were still alive, I'd think he was your reincarnation. His talent is overflowing. Shut it. Madara scoffed. True Uchiha talent isn't about 3-tomo or ninjutsu. Uchiha Obito has more potential than Uchiha Kagami. He paused. Fine, send a clone to check in on Kagami. Think of him as a backup. White Zetsu's words had gotten to him. Kagami might not be his reincarnation, but, if reincarnation was real, could he be? After all, his personality was a lot like Izuna's, and he was an incredibly talented swordsman. Even his looks had a youthful resemblance to Izuna. This was what bothered Madara the most. Uchiha were the standard for decent looks, but Uchiha Kagami, like Izuna, was refreshingly handsome. Even Fugaku, who was about as good-looking as a brick, could still be praised for his mature and steady vibe. Whatever. Having given his orders, Madara slowly closed his eyes. He was too old, and his body was riddled with injuries. Without the outer path statue propping him up, he'd have died long ago. This feeling of weakness ticked him off. He just wanted to pick a backup to keep Nagato in line before he shuffled off. Waiting for his return. That will be his prime. Hokage meeting room. Tensions were high. Danzo Shimura had been burning the candle at both ends, pulling strings in other ninja villages and fueling conflict. Yudatane Koharu and Mitokado and were in the Land of Fire capital, leaning on the daimyo, the old man, to cough up the war resources and keep up. Everyone could feel it coming. The Third Ninja World War was on the horizon. It was only a matter of time. Without the first Hokage to keep them in check, every few years, after licking their wounds, the villages would get greedy and want to redraw the map. After all, the Land of Fire had the richest resources and the best territory. The Kages weren't stupid. If the Land of Fire was allowed to develop peacefully, it would become a superpower like in the first Hokage's era. No one wanted to be second fiddle. Everyone wanted a slice of the Land of Fire's pie. The Hokage's office had been filled with even more smoke than usual lately. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat alone, nursing his cigarette and reading battle reports from the front. Sending the Uchiha clan to the front lines. Out of the 4 mythical gods of Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen was the least prejudiced against the Uchiha, but least didn't mean none. He wanted to wield the Uchiha blade, but he was afraid it would be too sharp and cut him instead. According to Jiraiya, Kagami was a good kid at heart, but he put the Uchiha clan ahead of the village. He can't shake that narrow-minded clan mentality. star. As far as Sarutobi Hiruzen was concerned, that alone meant he could never give Uchiha Kagami any real power, unless, star. If Orochimaru's plan worked, they might be able to end the war with the Land of Wind. If they could quickly take the Land of Wind and form an alliance, it might scare the other ninja villages straight, it might even delay the Third Ninja World War, peace. The word was too tempting for Sarutobi Hiruzen. After mulling it over, he summoned a ninja. Have the ninjas I marked on this list prepare to head to the Western Front. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't just blindly use Orochimaru's list. Those guys were hardcore Uchiha extremists. He greenlit some of them, then added some more moderate Uchiha, including Uchiha Fugaku. Sarutobi Hiruzen had a heart-to-heart with Fugaku. He could see that Fugaku didn't want the rift between the village and the Uchiha to widen, and was willing to compromise. At dusk, Sarutobi Hiruzen met with Uchiha Fugaku alone. After a quick hello, Sarutobi Hiruzen got right to the point. Fugaku-kun, what do you think of Kagami? Fugaku was taken aback for a second, then lowered his head. He's an incredibly gifted ninja, and he's very loyal to his friends and family. He's an amazing kid. Even though he'd butted heads with Uchiha Kagami before, he wasn't about to tell that to an outsider. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a drag and said, just loyal to his clan, right? Lord Hokage. Holding up a hand to cut him off, Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, I made a point of having Jiraiya train Kagami because I was impressed with his potential. But it seems his mind hasn't changed in the past year. He's still not close enough with the other Konoha ninjas. Fugaku was sweating bullets, relying on his universal excuse, Hokage, he's just a kid. He has a hard time expressing himself. You know that's not what I wanted to hear. Sarutobi Hiruzen had been Hokage since the Fugaku Chronicle. That power, accumulated over decades, made Fugaku walk on eggshells. Those words, spoken in a normal tone, made him feel like a kid being scolded by his teacher, unsure of what to do. Hokage-sama, I'll set Jing straight and help him bond with his fellow villagers. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled. Then I'll leave it in your capable hands, Fugaku-kun. Chapter 25 Kannabi Bridge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few days later, Fugaku Uchiha arrived with 50 Uchiha ninja. Their force included 7 Sharingan users with 3 Tomo, including Fugaku. This was enough to handle a small skirmish. Fugaku, you made it. Minato greeted Fugaku with surprise, and Fugaku, whose face rarely showed emotion, gave a rare smile. The two had been on missions together early in their careers and had become good friends. Minato's presence also gave Fugaku hope that the Uchiha could integrate into the village. A small group of Uchiha members walked directly behind Kagami Uchiha, clearly separating themselves from Fugaku's team. The atmosphere was a little tense. Fugaku was embarrassed. He was the clan leader, but these guys couldn't wait until later to make their point. Kagami Uchiha glanced at the teenagers behind him, only one of whom had the 3 Tomo Sharingan. Xuanhua, how's Elder Shenhua doing? He asked the young man. Thank you for your concern. My father is doing well. Xuanhua, Shenhua's son, shared his father's views. He showed respect to Kagami Uchiha, the faction's choice as Shenhua's successor. Like his father, he firmly believed that Kagami Uchiha could lead the Uchiha to prosperity. In recent years, the Uchiha clan had become visibly divided. Fugaku advocated integrating into the village, using his position as clan leader to guide the members. However, Kagami Uchiha's talent was undeniable, and his strength was on par with the clan leader. Those Uchiha who were dissatisfied with the village now had someone to rally behind and naturally stood by Kagami's side. This was what bothered Hiruzen Sarutobi the most. I've arranged for my own students to be your teachers, so why can't you warm up to the villagers? What more do you want? Fugaku couldn't understand it either. The third Hokage had made it clear. If Kagami just played along, even if he was faking it, he could at least act more approachable. Then the Hokage's seat wouldn't be out of reach. Kagami couldn't explain it, it was a matter of proportion. No matter what the Uchiha did, the third Hokage and others would still see them as an inherently evil clan that needed watching. How could the Uchiha's concerns outweigh the second Hokage's teachings? He didn't want to explain either. Fugaku's presence already showed he had chosen the Hokage's side. As Kagami had originally intended, there was no need to spare the patriarch's feelings. By Lord Orochimaru's orders, all Uchiha ninja are under my command. Everything good, Fugaku. Clan leader. Fugaku's face soured. He glanced at Minato, who offered a sympathetic smile, and suppressed his anger, nodding. Of course, on the battlefield, every ninja follows orders. He emphasized orders. Since Kagami was defying him, he wouldn't hold back either. He pulled out a scroll from his robes and said sternly, "Then by the Hokage's order, Kagami Uchiha, you will obey my commands." Kagami Uchiha wasn't surprised and chuckled. "Sorry, but I'm out of office and can't take orders from you. I don't recognize Fugaku's command authority. In an emergency, I'll use my own judgment." You just said you were following Orochimaru's orders, but now that I mention the Hokage, you ignore it." Seeing them clash, Minato was concerned. He knew about the Uchiha clan situation and the village leaders' biases. He couldn't sort through the complicated relationships. To de-escalate the conflict, Minato intervened. "We're all comrades from Konoha. Specific actions should be decided by the situation on the battlefield. Our main task is to defend the border. At least we have the same goal." A day earlier, Orochimaru had learned that the Uchiha were coming and led his forces to attack the Wind Country. Speed was key in war, and he wanted to catch Chiyo off guard. Sarutobi Shinnosuke was currently the highest-ranking officer on the front lines. He just observed the Uchiha and wisely chose not to interfere. Most Uchiha looked down on ninjas from other clans and were notoriously difficult to work with. The Hokage's son couldn't sway them. The Uchiha recognized few people, but fortunately, Minato was one of them. Both Kagami Uchiha and Fugaku were willing to defer to Minato. Inside the simple tent on the front lines, Minato spread out a map and pointed to a location. "I analyzed the terrain and this is the only route for Iwagakure to launch a large-scale attack." He pointed to an area northwest of the grass country. There was a famous bridge there, one that would become even more famous, Kannabi Bridge. "If we hold this point, we can stop any surprise attack from Iwagakure. I'll leave the Flying Thunder God mark on the border of the Fire Country. If any strong shinobi take alternate routes, I can lead reinforcements to intercept them." The Flying Thunder God technique made many tactics possible. Currently, Iwagakure had not attacked Konoha, and only a few ninja from both sides patrolled the grass country. Minato had never even considered the grass country's interests. Small countries like theirs existed only as strategic buffers between larger nations. "Just blow up the bridge," Kagami Uchiha said. Even if history had taken its course, the bridge would have been destroyed. Minato chuckled. "It's a major transportation hub. We haven't declared war on Iwagakure yet. We can't do something like that." Proactively bombing the Kannabi Bridge would be seen as Konoha declaring war on Iwagakure. Since the First Ninja World War, Konoha had never been the first to declare war on another ninja village. Kagami Uchiha knew the behavior was unreasonable. He suddenly thought of something else. Madara Uchiha was likely in the grass country during the Battle of Kannabi Bridge. Would he be here now? Probably. After all, moving something as big as the demonic statue of the Outer Path wasn't easy, but it was just a guess. The information Kagami Uchiha had was inconsistent and contained many timeline errors, so he could only use it as a reference. Kagami Uchiha wasn't worried about running into Madara Uchiha. For one thing, Madara was old and frail, probably couldn't exert much power, and Nagato had the Rinnegan. Besides, Madara Uchiha had never killed any member of the Uchiha clan, even in the final battle. He gave Sasuke a chance to surrender. Sasuke had called him a relic of the past and charged forward, stabbing him through the chest and leaving him half dead. Madara looked down on the Uchiha, but he wouldn't kill them all, as that didn't fit his character. If Black Zetsu wasn't involved, Kagami Uchiha would have wanted to explain everything to Madara Uchiha and invite the ancestor out of retirement. After the discussion, Minato Namikaze, Kagami Uchiha, and Fugaku Uchiha led 5 Jonin-level ninja to garrison Kannabi Bridge. Sarutobi Shinnosuke and other ninja were stationed along the border. Near the Earth Country as a defensive force, the operation began, and they encountered a few Iwagakure and Kusagakure ninja on the way. since there was no war, after a brief negotiation, everyone passed through the grass country under the guise of a mission and arrived at the Kannabi bridge. In a small country like the grass country, it wasn't unusual to see ninja from any village. Minato's team was disguised, so the 8-man team didn't attract attention. Everything was peaceful, but only temporarily. As soon as news of Orochimaru's attack in the wind country spread, the earth country would act. Maybe then, a storm was coming. Chapter 26 Een Dun, the Sun-Chasing Wolf. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 30 kilometers ahead, an Iwagakure ninja team is approaching fast. At least 3 are Jonin level in chakra strength, and another 30 are mid-genin. Shenwabi Bridge. Namikaze Minato pressed his fingers to the ground, closing his eyes. Chakra perception, he said, his voice low. Flying Thunder God is incredibly complex, way harder to learn than your average S-rank ninjutsu. If Minato had put the time he spent on Flying Thunder God into developing his own Kekkei Genkai, maybe he could have unlocked it, but that's putting the cart before the horse. Flying Thunder God is much stronger than most bloodline limits. A strong perception ability is key for learning it. Minato wasn't authorized to teach the Flying Thunder God technique, but he did teach Uchiha Kagami the chakra sensing technique. Kagami's sensing range is currently 10 kilometers, not even close to Minato's. That's talent for you. Looks like word of Lord Orochimaru's attack on the land of wind got out, Minato said grimly. I wonder how it's going over there. Relax, Minato. Lord Orochimaru's got it covered, a masked guy in sunglasses said from the team. Aburame Jue Hui. Besides Minato, Kagami, and Fugaku, there are 4 other Konoha Jonin, plus Schwanhua, who has 3 Tomo Sharingan. Their Aburame Jue Hui, Akimichi Chuza, Nara Suzaku, and Yamanaka Inoichi. Nara Shikaku is commanding the Eastern Front, otherwise it would be a modern-day Ino Shikacho team-up. Basically, everyone here except Schwanhua is tight with Minato, and they volunteered for this dangerous mission. The Third War just started, and most of the village's top talent is following Minato. It's a wonder Orochimaru can even get a vote of confidence from the higher-ups. 30 kilometers left. They'll be here soon. How do we handle this? Fugaku asked, arms crossed. Want to try negotiating? Nara Suzaku offered. He usually handles comms with ninjas on the road. He's not as smart as Nara Shikaku, but diplomacy's his thing. Minato frowned, looking at Uchiha Kagami. They exchanged a look, like they were reading each other's minds. I'm leaving it to you, Jing. Got it. Uchiha Jing took off, with a voice following. Schwanhua, back me up. Understood. Fugaku, watching them go, looked confused. Did you give them some secret order? That this team of 8 doesn't have a designated leader, but everyone respects Minato, since he's the only one who can connect everyone. The kindness in Minato's eyes vanished, replaced with a cold edge. At this point, that Iwagakure team has to be a vanguard, scouting the Konoha battlefield. We have to wipe them out. Maybe that buys me some time. After a moment, Chuza asked, or maybe they're on a different mission. Even so, Minato replied flatly. We can't let them pass. The Western Front is thinly defended. We can't let them confirm that. At least, we need to keep the main fight here, not back in the fire country. This wasn't their usual kind of mission, and Minato was showing a lot of emotion, but this is war. Sunagakure is already at war with Konoha. Orochimaru, Hiruzen, and Minato all want the same thing. They want to wrap up the fight in the land of wind ASAP, to get ready for what comes next. The third Hokage hoped to push off the ninja war. Minato and Jiraiya, traveling the ninja world, knew war was coming no matter what, so, start the war somewhere else. Better another country suffer than the land of fire. Minato was a good, kind guy to his villagers, but no one outside the village ever called him a good person. Clutching his special kunai, Namikaze Minato ordered, Kagami's got my Flying Thunder God kunai. He leads the charge, we provide support. Jue, Suzaku, Chuza, Fugaku, pick a direction and form a perimeter. Nobody gets away. Got it? Understood. The 5 split up fast, but, why is Kagami leading? Even Jue and the others, not just Fugaku, were scratching their heads. Minato didn't explain, but they'd figure it out. Moving fast, Uchiha Kagami started weaving hand seals, building up chakra, and Xuanhua was doing the same. During his 2 years at the Ninja Academy, Uchiha Kagami trained with Shinhua, and Xuanhua was always there. They worked great together, and that's when Xuanhua was completely won over. He's a genius, plain and simple. I'm lucky to be under him. The Iwagakure ninja were getting closer. Jing could practically taste them. Closer, a little closer. When a figure finally appeared, Uchiha Jing slammed his hands on the ground. Earth release, Yellow Spring Swamp. That they were nearly 1,000 meters away, and the other team didn't have Sharingan, so they didn't see Uchiha Kagami and his partner. The sudden appearance of the Yellow Spring Swamp caught them off guard. The ground turned into quicksand, and only a few leaped away in time. Dozens were stuck, sinking slowly. What jutsu is this? Yellow Spring Swamp. This size, is it Jiraiya? Can't be Sarutobi Hiruzen. Some powerful jutsu have a distinct vibe. Like, when people see the White Fang using a chakra blade, they think White Fang. Iwagakure is all about earth release, but their big-scale earth release jutsu are usually about reshaping the earth. This jutsu, changing the nature of the land, is Konoha's signature move. The second Hokage's jutsu are all sealing technique. The reason Konoha ninjas can use all the elements and unique techniques is thanks to Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, the professor. Mixing all 5 types of ninjutsu isn't just some joke. Sarutobi Hiruzen basically maxed out everything a non-bloodline ninja can do. He had no weak points. Even in his 50s, he could beat Orochimaru to a pulp. If Orochimaru hadn't gone soft at the last minute, he would have never defected. Stay calm. Don't struggle. I'm here to save you. Dashi, Yenyu, stay alert. A senior ninja weaved signs, built a huge rock on the swamp as a foothold, and started pulling his teammates out one by one. Earth release, 4-pillar earth prison, *, boom, star, thick earth walls rose on all 4 sides of the swamp. Big rock. Break it. Got it. A burly Iwagakure ninja coated his arms in rock and smashed a wall with one punch, * bang. Star, earth and rocks flew everywhere, kicking up dust. In the smoke, Dashi saw 2 weird red lights. Tough luck. 1 in 4 chance you'd run into it. Uchiha Jing smirked, * whoosh, star. Xuanhua leaped forward, and the chakra he'd been building surged from his throat. Fire release, great fire annihilation. The flames roared like a wave, burning the air. Earth release, earth prison. But when it comes to earth release, Iwagakure wrote the book. Just as the big rock broke through one wall, another wall popped up, with the main goal of smashing and rebuilding. Fire and earth don't really help or hurt each other. Xuanhua's great fire annihilation is strong, but not enough to crack an earth prison from another ninja of the same level. Then, the hot air turned bone-chilling cold. Feeling the deep, icy chill beside him, Xuanhua's blood ran hot. This is it. Pure, profound darkness. I chose right. Uchiha Jing put his right hand over his left, held out like he was holding a gun, not one of the 12 seals. This, you little thief, you stole the 10 shadows technique? A huge shadow gathered in front of Uchiha Jing, forming a pack of pure black wolves. Each wolf was the size of a calf, and they kept multiplying, dozens of them. The wolves reeked of evil, in their eyes, scarlet Sharingan. Uchiha Jing gritted his teeth, hands clenched, a bloodthirsty grin on his face. Go, tear them apart. Een release, shadow wolf barrage. The wolves swept in like a black storm, their howls shaking the ground. The earth trembled, and the air filled with blood. The wolves roared through the flames, crashing through the earth walls, like a dark cloud engulfing the city. Chapter 27 Black Flash. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The mudslide walls crumbled, and the scorching fire waves dried up the swamp. Those ninjas still stuck in the mud had no chance to escape. Most tried to protect themselves with ninjutsu, but a few were so terrified that the flames burned them to a crisp. The ninjas who successfully resisted the flames barely had time to breathe before their earth escape techniques, honed through rigorous training, were shattered by pitch-black claws. Rumble. Facing the approaching black wolves, they could only raise their kunai in defense, but, the black wolves pierced right through them. Faintly, a blue light flickered in the fierce wolves' mouths and on their sharp claws, it looked like a soul. Asshole! Who are you? Why are you attacking us? Damn it! I can't even touch this thing. What the hell is this monster? The leading jonin quickly assessed the technique's weak points and yelled, "Don't panic. These wolves aren't fast. We can easily dodge them. Don't engage head-on." He was cut off mid-sentence. Easy for you to say. Why don't you come save me then? Uchiha Kagami was well aware of his technique's shortcomings. This In-style jutsu had an ability similar to Kamui. It could bypass the body and bite directly into the soul, but such a terrifying ability came with an obvious flaw, that it was slow. Any decent chunin could use hit-and-run tactics until Uchiha Kagami ran out of chakra. That's why there was a corresponding plan, one that would restrict the enemy's movements first, modeled after the classic Keigen fire strategy. And the tactic of surrounding key points while ambushing reinforcements. Uchiha Jing deliberately spared the lives of 7 or 8 ninjas, surrounding each one with several wolves and waiting for their senior ninjas to come to the rescue. There's a strong bond between regular ninjas, after all, they're from the same village, grew up together, and trained together. Those who go on missions together are usually close friends or mentor-student pairs. Those 3 jonin could have easily escaped on their own, but they couldn't just abandon comrades who seemed salvageable. Bastard! What kind of evil technique is this? Daisher stared at Uchiha Jing, his eyes wide with rage. Got any new insults? Those are the only 2 you know. They're not even a little insulting. Uchiha Jing kept 5 black wolves around himself to deter them from acting rashly. Besides, aren't our clothes and eyes a dead giveaway? And you're still asking who we are? Are you dense, or just plain stupid? Hearing this, Oishi looked closely at the eyes of Uchiha Jing and the other ninja. No. Those are the Uchiha's Sharingan. Don't look directly into their eyes. His desperate warning came too late. Rumble, Daisher froze for a moment, and a black wolf passed through his body, tearing out a light blue spirit. No. The 3 female jonin screamed and frantically channeled their chakra. Earth style, Earth split palm, that she slammed her palm into the ground, creating a continuous roar as a huge crack spread towards Uchiha Jing and the other man. Click, Uchiha Jing bit his fingertip and quickly formed hand seals. With a bang, a giant eagle flapped its wings and took flight, circling them in the air. There aren't many ninjas who can fly, especially not among those below. At that distance, nearly 100 meters, they were out of reach of any ninjutsu. The earth-loving ninja of Iwagakure were helpless against the eagle in the sky, except for the 3rd Tsuchikage. Of course, Uchiha Jing looked a little tired on the eagle's back. Those 2 large-scale ninjutsu burned through almost as much chakra as an adult Kakashi would use. In-style, Sun-chasing wolf cost about 4 or 5 cards worth of chakra, and that was just for creation. Maintaining it also drained mental energy. Fortunately, it was In-style, which relied heavily on spiritual energy. If it had been normal chakra, Uchiha Kagami wouldn't have been able to keep it up. This In-style jutsu was an experiment. Uchiha Jing needed to familiarize himself with his abilities as quickly as possible and use them on the battlefield before the war escalated. Training and fighting were 2 different things. He knew that he would eventually face the 3rd generation Hokage, the 9 Tails, Nagato, and even the monsters that would appear later. This war was crucial. He needed to transform himself through it, awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan in peak condition, and tame Sukuna. Only then would he be able to lead the Uchiha clan to survive in this chaotic world. Swish, swish, the people led by Minato, who had planned to form a siege, appeared after seeing the scene. What kind of technique is this? It's a bit like our shadow secret technique, also In-style, but much stronger. As expected of the Sharingan. That's Oishi, a jonin from Iwagakure. I've seen him before, didn't expect Kagami to take him out. Large-scale earth style, and that weird In-style ninjutsu. Fugaku recalled the battle from last year. This guy must be best at that slashing secret technique. The Uchiha were a clan of geniuses. Fugaku was able to become clan leader because he had been recognized as a prodigy since childhood, and his talent was unmatched among his peers, but looking at Uchiha Jing, who still looked like a kid, he felt inadequate. He wasn't afraid of Uchiha Kagami's power. A head-on fight with Uchiha Kagami would be a toss-up. He feared Uchiha Kagami's talent. He could quickly learn any ninjutsu and had developed several of his own secret techniques, once he awakened. The legendary eyes. What right would I have to lead the Uchiha clan? They're ninja from Konoha. Why is Konoha attacking us? This is the border of the land of Earth. Is this a declaration of war? The team leader tried to stay calm and looked around. Some things are better left unsaid. Uchiha Jing said indifferently, don't play dumb. Anoki sent you to scout the land of fire's border, didn't he? How dare you speak to the Tsuchikage-sama like that? The Jonin leader exploded, his face contorting with rage. Shameless Uchiha. The Tsuchikage-sama will know about your cowardly sneak attack. Your entire clan. You will feel the wrath of the Tsuchikage-sama. Heh. Uchiha Jing laughed. Didn't the Tsuchikage tell you that people from my clan beat him and his master senseless? If it weren't for Uchiha Madara's good graces, that old man would have died long ago. Madara, kind-hearted? Those in Konoha who knew the name couldn't wrap their heads around that statement. Oh. Damn it. Bastard. The furious Jonin leader jumped up and charged towards Uchiha Kagami, like Icarus, reaching for the impossible. Uchiha Jing smirked. He steered the giant eagle in another direction, and they passed each other in the air. It was too late for the Jonin leader to turn around. Uchiha Jing stared at a specific spot. The soil there had peculiar bulges, as if a mole was moving underground. The moment the Konoha shinobi had appeared, the Jonin leader had realized they couldn't save their trapped comrades. He had signaled to another female Jonin, that I'll hold them back, you escape. Nice. Namikaze Minato smiled to himself. He'd also noticed the escaped Jonin, but he hadn't made a move. He wanted to see how Uchiha Kagami would perform, prioritize chasing down fugitives, and leave stronger enemies to those with the ability to make the correct judgment. Uchiha Jing jumped off the giant eagle, predicting the route of the Earth-style escape. He took a deep breath, clenched his fists, focused his attention. He identified the space distortion caused by the physical strike and chakra impact within 0.000001 seconds. The Sharingan's Tomo spun wildly, almost bleeding. Click click, star.a. Harsh sound rang out. Uchiha Jing's right fist stretched to the extreme, his waist twisted into an unnatural arc. The air vibrated. Space, twisted. Before anyone could react, black and red lightning erupted from the tip of his fist. Black Flash. Chapter 28, Can #039, T-Even Dance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Curse power comes from a practitioner's negative emotions, like fear, anger, and sadness. It's a type of spiritual energy that can be manipulated in specific ways. Chakra originates from the sacred tree, but that doesn't mean all chakra belongs to it. The sacred tree is just the source. It's an energy created by perfectly fusing different energies controlled by the human body, similar to chi. This energy can do almost anything. The tailed beasts are a prime example. It can create something from nothing and give it life. Black Flash's most obvious effect is turning a normal attack into a supercritical hit. It's a skill that demands a deep understanding of one's own power. Whether you can use it isn't about luck, it's about understanding the core of your energy. The ninja world has a similar way to boost chakra, Sage Mode. It not only lets you sense danger and attack over a large area, but also allows you to use natural energy as part of your body to attack. It drastically improves your ninjutsu and physical abilities, and greatly enhances ninjutsu development. For example, Naruto could throw the Raisin Shuriken after learning Sage Mode, something he couldn't do before. Compared to the all-around benefits of Sage Mode, the Black Flash that Uchiha Kagami has mastered isn't as comprehensive. The similarity is that they both rely on energy found in nature. Uchiha Jing poured all his energy into attack power. The unstoppable black lightning struck as he moved. It was a spatial distortion. Boom! The sun blazed the moment the black and red lightning exploded, the sunlight reeked of death, the overwhelming force would turn anything in its path to dust. Bang! The explosion made the surrounding ninjas cover their ears in pain, even the aftershock was like a large-scale wind release technique. When the smoke cleared. After that earth-shattering blast, it was like the horrific destructive power of modern weaponry, leaving a bottomless abyss in the earth. The hole was over 10 meters wide. It was hard to believe, a human fist made it, tiny black and red sparks flickered at the pit's edge, the Iwagakure Jonin who was the target was gone, dead silence, complete silence. Some people present recognized the scene, they had one thing in common, they had witnessed a tailed beast ball explode. Maybe the range wasn't as great, but the sheer lethality, it was a power on that level, no doubt. Cursed Energy's black flash shouldn't have this much power. Sukuna's voice was low and emotionless. I believe chakra is indeed a higher form of energy than cursed energy. Uchiha Kagami, you have a rare talent, a desperate hunger for power. In my 1,000 years, I've rarely met someone like you. If you can let go of your contempt for the masses, you could reach a very high level. Achieve true freedom, like me. That it was the first time Sukuna had addressed Uchiha Kagami by name. Uchiha Jing looked at his cracked arms, which smelled burnt, half his body was numb, beyond even feeling pain, his body couldn't handle that kind of power. What is true freedom? Uchiha Kagami questioned Sukuna, then answered himself. Like you claim to be truly free, but you're obsessed with whether others respect you. Indifferent to life and death, constantly killing for your own amusement. I'm not trying to make you good, Sukuna. It's just, your senseless killing bores me. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want, but not doing what you don't want. The clan isn't my weakness, it's my reason for getting stronger. The Uchiha should be the strongest. Sukuna, you're chained down. What gives you the right to talk to me about freedom? It's pathetic that you can't even cut loose. At that moment, Uchiha Kagami just had one thought, and the great Sukuna was locked away in a small, dark room before he could even say another word. Whoosh! Uchiha Kagami was falling, waiting for the giant eagle to catch him, but someone was faster. That was too much, Jing. Namake's Minato caught Uchiha Kagami and set him on the ground. He looked at him with gentle disapproval. You could have beaten her without that technique. It wasn't just her I wanted to beat. Because you guaranteed me, I dared to try this technique. The risk paid off. Black Flash is like a formula. Once you use it the first time, you'll master it eventually. Namake's Minato smiled wryly and glanced at his teammates, who were encircling the Iwagakure. The Iwagakure were already outnumbered, and the previous attack had broken their will to fight. The battle was a foregone conclusion. Does your technique have a name? Black Flash. Mirror Flower, Water Moon would be a good name, but that name is too ordinary. Brother Minato, you don't have to act funny all the time just to keep up appearances. Just kidding. Minato Namake smiled. Actually, he cared a little. Let me get you to the medic first. Jue Hui and the others can handle this. Uchiha Jing nodded. Oh, put me down. I can at least walk on my own. He wasn't Kushina and didn't enjoy being carried by Minato at all. With Minato Namake's as the battlefield teleporter, he didn't have to worry about getting injured. He should use it more often to increase his experience when the Flying Thunder God service wasn't busy. In a few minutes, Fugaku and the others finished off the enemy and looked at Uchiha Kagami with mixed feelings. Just like your understudy, he's another incomprehensible super genius. Akimichi Choza said, impressed. I thought Minato, who learned the Flying Thunder God technique, was invincible, but there was someone even stronger, one punch with the effect of a tailed beast bomb. Is this still a human? Uncle Akimichi, you should be saying that Minato deserves to be your student. Uchiha Kagami successfully unleashed the chakra version of Black Flash and was in a good mood, so he joked. Akimichi Choza looked bitter. You were Minato's student, you should call me Big Brother. Besides, I am only 8 or 9 years older than you. Okay, I'll send Jing back to get treatment, and we'll bring back the bodies of the Iwagakure. As he spoke, Minato seemed to remember something and turned to look at Uchiha Jing. although I said that protecting yourself is the most important thing on the battlefield. But if there is a huge disparity in strength and you can control the enemy, couldn't you use the Sharingan to get some information first? Uchiha Jin curled his lips in disdain. Go and ask Uchiha Fugaku about that. Fugaku was a little embarrassed since he had just killed the last Iwagakure Jonin. He was inspired by Uchiha Kagami and wanted to show his strength as head of the Uchiha clan. He never thought that based on the situation just now, it would be possible to capture him alive. Minato didn't continue. He was actually saying this to Fugaku, but Uchiha Kagami was his younger fellow disciple, so some things were easier to say, using the Flying Thunder God technique, yellow flashes, running across the battlefield. Chapter 29, Lava Escape, Four Tales. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The war in the Wind Country wasn't going as planned. Sure, Konoha ninjas were tougher than those from the Sand Village, but the desert environment gave the Sand ninjas a serious home field advantage, especially some young guy named Raza, who was using magnetic release to shut down a small squad of 3 elite ninjas. Turns out, he could control the rampaging One-Tail, Shikaku, in the desert. Orochimaru had written him off as a serious threat, which brought the whole operation to a standstill. The desert was a mess of blood, puppet parts, and broken weapons. Orochimaru, you're not worthy to kill me. Chiyo, working the Chikamatsu 10 puppets, sliced through a massive brown snake. Orochimaru popped up from the destroyed snake body, looking pissed. The plan was, if he could keep Chiyo busy, the Konoha ninjas could quickly take the Wind Country, leaving the Sand Village scrambling on 2 fronts, but, just look at Raza over there, unleashing that golden sand waterfall. That magnetic release technique was a game-changer on this scale of battlefield, especially on his own turf. Another magnetic ninja. Chiyo scoffed, little snake, if you dared attack the Wind Country, you had to know. Which means it was you, Konoha, who offed the 3rd Kazekage. That the 3rd Kazekage had been MIA for over 3 months. Forget a Kage, even a genin would be presumed dead after a month with no contact. Chiyo had already given up looking for the 3rd Kazekage. The reason she went to war with Konoha was to pick the 4th Kazekage in the war. Orochimaru licked his lips, smirking. Old woman, our intel says it was your grandson who iced the 3rd Kazekage. Scorpion. Chiyo's eyes went wide. For a split second, she faltered, her chakra control slipping. A puppet master of her caliber shouldn't make such a rookie mistake. Swish. Orochimaru didn't miss the chance. A white blur shot from his mouth, severing one of Chiyo's hands. Bang! The puppets, now uncontrolled, crashed to the ground. Chiyo-sama, Granny Chiyo. Protect Chiyo-sama. Fall back. Protect Master Chiyo and fall back. Seeing Chiyo get hurt, Sand Village ninjas were ready to die to stop Orochimaru from pressing his attack. Having the old lady in charge was already embarrassing for the Sand Village. If she died on the battlefield, they wouldn't be able to call themselves ninjas. The Sand Village's fearlessness was a real pain for Orochimaru. Even Raza abandoned his post to come to her aid. After scrapping with Chiyo for so long, Orochimaru was drained. Being surrounded would be a disaster. In the end, Mangekyo retreated. The Konoha ninjas weren't in great shape either, since a lot of them had been poisoned by the Sand Village. Tsunade. Orochimaru frowned. If Tsunade were here, they could have taken out Chiyo for sure, and he wouldn't have to sweat Chiyo's poison. Just thinking about Tsunade. This battlefield covered in blood. If she was around, it'd be a win if she didn't slow them down. Orochimaru looked at the unfinished game in front of him, annoyed. They'd underestimated the Sand Village. Even a broken-down ship can still be useful, let alone one of the 5 great ninja villages. Raza's appearance meant Konoha hadn't accomplished much. Orochimaru didn't want such a small victory at all. He knew what this loss would mean for Konoha, and he had to find a way to turn things around. Orochimaru decided to sneak into the Sand Village himself, to gather more info on Chiyo and Raza, and to spread the word that Scorpion of the Red Sand had killed the 3rd Kazekage. It wasn't enough for just the Sand Village leaders to know. He needed the rank and file to know. He learned this trick from Danzo, and if he got the chance, he'd take out that magnetic ninja. After cleaning up the battlefield, Orochimaru slipped away under the cover of darkness, heading for the Sand Village. Meanwhile, on another battlefield on Konoha's western front, limbs and corpses were scattered all over Kannabi Bridge. Fugaku, a master of genjutsu, was using his skills to extract intel from two Iwagakure ninjas. Uchiha Kagami wiped the blood off Sodi Shirayuki. Swordsmanship was part of the Uchiha-style physical skills, relying heavily on the Sharingan's insight. If you could spot the enemy's weakness, a short blade was easier to kill with than a long one, plus, it suited his slashing style. Minato, seeing that he wanted to train, had let him handle most of the Iwagakure waves. Uchiha progressed fastest in real combat. Kagami's timing and battle smarts had gotten way better. Looks like Iwagakure has confirmed that the Land of Fire's border is wide open. Fugaku approached the group, saying grimly, according to what they know. Oanoki has ordered the Jinchuriki to move out, headed this way. Jinchuriki, always a heavy word. Minato smiled calmly, it was bound to happen. Isn't that why we're here? Everyone looked at Uchiha Kagami. Fugaku knew what Orochimaru had said at the pre-war meeting. According to him, Minato would deal with one Jinchuriki, and if a second showed up, it was Kagami's problem. Kagami had been impressive lately, but no one thought he could take on a Jinchuriki. That crazy black flash of his was as strong as a tailed beast ball, but after using it once before, Kagami was done for. Seeing their unspoken questions, Kagami sheathed his sword and said calmly, I hope it's the Four Tails. I'm more interested in it. Besides the all-powerful Kurama, the Four Tails had the best compatibility with Kagami. His go-to ninjutsu were fire and earth, meaning he had the basics to develop lava release. Een release was the most valuable to develop, and his slashing could be considered a type of een release. Lava release was super powerful, but he didn't have enough juice to develop it on his own. The Four Tails was a shortcut. The nine-tailed beasts were the protectors of the ninja world, left behind by the Sage of Six Paths, each packing serious power. The ideal Jinchuriki was one where, after building a connection, the ninja could use the tailed beast's abilities to get a 1+1=3 type of deal. The Nine Tails chakra that Kagami had absorbed helped him develop een release, sun chasing wolf. Getting the Four Tails chakra would be a huge boost to developing lava release. As if on cue, a heatwave rolled in, like an active volcano was erupting nearby. Konoha bastards, what did you do to my friends? The roar was coming from far away, getting closer. A red figure was moving closer and closer, and the place it passed through was in flames. Get ready to fight, Jing. Looks like it's the Four Tails you wanted. Minato couldn't keep his chakra sense up all the time, so the sudden appearance of the enemy didn't faze him much. Compared to the Four Tails and Five Tails they'd seen before, the Nine Tails was terrifyingly strong. Minato even felt like those two Jinchuriki weren't in the same league as Kushina. Back then, he'd said he needed the Nine Tails Jinchuriki to fight them. What a joke. Kagami activated his Sharingan again, channeling his chakra and running through hand seals. He didn't wait around for the enemy to attack, chatting for minutes before throwing punches. If you weren't going to use that time to power up your ultimate move, did you seriously think this was a turn-based game? Squeak squeak squeak. The horrible grinding sound kept getting louder, attracting people's attention. Fugaku, especially, was having flashbacks. The blue blade spun around Kagami, faster and faster, like a storm. Back up a little. The storm grew bigger, crushing the bodies of the Iwagakure ninjas on the ground, staining the azure blade flow with blood. The Four Tails Jinchuriki, covered in flowing magma, went into full fire mode. Lava release, burning river rock technique. Volcano balls the size of millstones came crashing down, radiating insane heat. Kagami extended two fingers, guiding. Slashing release, 1,000 blades flow. Jing Yen. Chapter 30, Chilling Cicada. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sword blades rushed forward like a tidal wave, obliterating several balls of molten lava. The ground was gouged into a deep trench where the attack struck. The relentless torrent of blades engulfed the red figure. Within a several hundred-meter radius, soil and rocks were pulverized, and the massive trees were turned to ash. What is that? Jue and the others, witnessing this technique for the first time, gasped in disbelief. Wind style. No, there's no wind style chakra signature. That has to be some kind of forbidden technique. How many tricks does he have up his sleeve? What a freak. Fugaku strained his eyes, trying to understand the mechanism behind the jutsu. Zhan Dun, that's Jing's personal secret technique, it doesn't seem to be a bloodline limit. The roaring wind made Minato's voice slightly distorted, but everyone present was a jonin with sharp hearing. It's an ultra-high frequency slash, powered by spiritual energy. As far as spiritual energy goes, the only thing I know that can match Jing. He was referring to a creature, not a person. A purely mental slash. Nara Suzaku, release user, couldn't even imagine it. Is that a modified version of the spiritual transformation technique? Should we protect Jing's body? Although I don't think he really needs it. Minato placed his fingers on the ground. That chakra, the five tails is approaching with a group. Xuanhua, Jue Hui, stay here and assist Jing. Everyone else, come with me and intercept them. Understood. Trapped in the storm of blades, Lao Zi was in rough shape, he barely resembled a human being. His skin was composed of lava, and a massive tail extended from his back, making him look like a lava demon. This was the molten chakra mode he had developed. Lava release was the signature ability of the four tails. After years of training, he'd also mastered this bloodline limit, allowing him to take on this form. In this state, his attack and defense were greatly enhanced, and his raw power surpassed that of the five tails Jinchuriki. One of the Iwabikure shinobi killed by Jing was his nephew, his brother's only son, who meant more to him than his own children. When they lost contact, Lao Zi flew into a rage and charged ahead, ignoring his comrades' warnings. He'd thought this new form would incinerate the bastards who dared to invade the land of Earth. But the moment he appeared, he was pinned down. These tiny streams of blades weren't causing fatal damage, but if he did nothing, gurgle, gurgle, more and more tailed beast chakra seeped out, fueled by Lao Zi's furious emotions, roar. The roar shook the heavens, and the violent, scorching chakra actually ripped a hole in the sword storm. He's going into tailed beast mode already. Seeing Lao Zi manifest three tails, Uchiha Jing deactivated the 1,000 blades flow Jing Yen and summoned a giant eagle. The Uchiha clan had several animal summoning contracts, the most famous being with the Ninja Cat clan. Others who preferred illusion chose the Crow contract. Uchiha Kagami had subdued this giant eagle alone. To complement his fighting style, flight was a huge advantage, granting near invincibility against ordinary ninjas. When Xuanhua and Jue Hui approached, Uchiha Jing felt a hint of concern. Average jonin, without any specific countermeasures, were useless against a tailed beast. Aburame Jue Hui's insect secret technique was powerful, but the parasitic insects couldn't even get close to Lao Zi. Jue Hui, an experienced shinobi, sensed Uchiha Jing's apprehension and spoke quickly. I've hidden a large number of parasitic insects beneath the battlefield. The moment he dispels his tailed beast transformation, I can use the insects to drain his chakra. Have you ever used your parasites to absorb a tailed beast's chakra before? No. I'll try to weaken his chakra later. If you can do it, assist me in the fight. If you can't, run for your lives and don't hold us back. That I'm still a jonin, you know. The exchange lasted mere seconds. Lao Zi, having stabilized the tailed beast's chakra, glared up at the giant eagle with his pure black eyes. Terrifying chakra coalesced in front of him, visibly forming a high-density black energy bomb, a tailed beast bomb. A sense of dread filled the air. Facing the tailed beast bomb for the first time, Xuanhua's hands trembled. It was a natural disaster, not a weapon humans could withstand. What are you so afraid of? That the calm voice snapped Xuanhua back to reality. He stared at Uchiha Jing's determined face. Tailed beasts are nothing more than livestock to the Uchiha clan. Why would you fear an animal? Uchiha Jing's unwavering confidence infected Xuanhua, and even Jue Hui felt his blood heat up. Use all your chakra to unleash the great fire annihilation. Leave the rest to me. Understood. Xuanhua rapidly performed the hand seals, expending his chakra without hesitation. A raging inferno erupted from his mouth, threatening to consume everything in a sea of fire. Lao Zi, transformed into a tailed beast, ignored the inferno. The flames were so intense, they were barely a tepid bath to him. Click. The black energy ball swallowed the fire in one gulp, and just when he was about to fire it, the vast sea of flames seemed to come alive. morphing into a gigantic dragon. The essence of Yin release lies in creating form from nothing. Uchiha Jing couldn't conjure something out of thin air, but he could use Yin release to reconstruct things that already existed. The scarlet fire dragon was streaked with blue-purple, constricting the tailed beast in coils of violet energy, composite ninjutsu. Yin Dragon Fire Prison. Boom! The cataclysmic explosion resembled the sun rising from the earth. Uchiha Jing guided the giant eagle even higher, his eyes scanning the explosion for any sign of Lao Zi. When the explosion subsided, a gigantic crater scarred the landscape near the Kannabi bridge, drastically altering the terrain. Water gurgled up from the depths of the crater. In the center, the tailed beast stood unscathed, already condensing another tailed beast ball. These tailed beasts, these monsters are truly something else. You've gotten yourself into quite the mess, kid. Sukuna's taunting voice echoed in his mind. After their last conversation, his resentment toward Uchiha Kagami had intensified. Trouble? Uchiha Jing smirked. Against a Kage-level warrior, he would indeed be lacking in certain areas, but he wasn't afraid of things like tailed beasts. It was like a game of rock-paper-scissors. The Uchiha Jing atop the giant eagle vanished silently, dissolving into a wisp of green smoke. Jue Hui and Xuanhua barely registered a faint chirping sound. Below, Lao Zi froze in place, the tailed beast ball shattering before it could even fully form. Slashing release, single blade, Higurashi. Uchiha Kagami appeared in the spiritual space where the four tails was sealed. Before him stood a gigantic, four-tailed ape, bound by chains. Roar. The four tails roared furiously, creating a hurricane within the spiritual space. Uchiha Kagami's black hair whipped around his face as his crimson Sharingan locked onto the monster. It's a bit of an insult to call you Sun Wukong.